Greetings, my friends, and welcome to the Spirit of Ecstasy program. And I am the Doctor of Energy, and I am here to give you explosive energy and radiant health and peace, joy, and love that is overflowing so that it just comes out all over you. And you are going to be at the top of your game. You are going to have all of that radiant, overflowing ability to do all the creative things that you need to do. You're going to have a creative power like you could not believe. And I want to send out to you now today the warmest hugs and the greatest amount of love from my heart to you, so that and I am telling you by that I am willing to help you in any way to raise that buoyant in your life, that overflowing inspirational creativity that will cause you to invent and innovate and engineer like you've never done before. Your paintings will come together faster. Your music, you'll compose that music and write those books, and it'll flow from you. And so I'm here giving you these ideas, and so that because those ideas, you have to get the idea in mind before you can bring the idea out into the practical. And so I want to ask you the question today. Have you ever wondered why so many people have illness and sickness and disease, and why is that here among us on earth? And where did it come from? Who said it? And how did it arrive? And how do we go about, especially overcoming it? And is it a natural thing? And was it ordained by our divine source? Was it created by God? Was it something that is natural, or is it not the unnatural, the inharmony, the opposite of God, something that we, by turning to God, can overcome? And I am here to tell you that health is immortal and is a eternal substance. Remember, just memorize that. Health is immortal and eternal substance. And I told you that substance is that which cannot be divided. And substance is harmonious. And substance is eternal. And substance is that which cannot change. So that God is perfect and harmonious and cannot change. And he lives in unapproachable light, although we can begin to move toward that direction, and we can see more and more of that light, and we can see more and more of that harmony that he has. He lives in infinite light and infinite harmony. And the harmony which we receive in our life comes from God, our divine source. So that the more we begin to recognize who our divine source is and let him blow out of us in a major way, the more harmonious we will be. And so the answer to sickness is to realize that it is not ordained by our divine source. It was not created by God. It is the result of us living through the five senses and seeing only and feeling only and hearing only what we can hear, see, and feel through our five senses, and not turning to those other senses. And we have thousands of other senses that go from the sixth sense on, 7, 8, 9, 10 senses that exist within us, which we have not developed, and turning to that divine source within which is all harmony, and which is eternal, immortal substance. As we do that, then health becomes the natural rather than the unnatural. And so the answer to all of it is that we have to get into the harmony which really exists and away from the inharmony, which is a result of us viewing things only through our five senses. And that harmony and that health is closer to us than even our sense of consciousness. It's closer to us even than who we are, who we feel like we are. It's closer than breath. It's certainly far closer than our breath, far closer than our blood flow, closer than our body. It is there with us in our mind, which exists and is enmeshed and immersed and flows in and out of the mind of God. It is not the brain which exists in the skull, but that only controls our physical actions. It is connected to the physical muscles and the five senses, and controls a certain amount of memory and so forth like that. But the mind, our mind, is enmeshed with our divine source, God, and His mind flows in us, and our mind flows in Him. And so we have access to all of these harmonious thoughts and all of this eternal, substantive, immortal health. As we turn to what's on our infinite mind, and what is flowing really through us from God, which we're not recognizing, flowing in that infinite mind, in and out, in and through us, and all in us, all the time, but we're not recognizing it because we're tied up with the five senses, and we're allowing that to feed our mind, to feed our memory and our present mind that we're using, to go about the day with. We're letting those things that come from the five senses control it all, and we're not letting those things which are flowing through us from the infinite mind begin to come forth and show us all of these marvelous things as we begin to turn to it. So how do we do that? We get into a reflective state, a meditative mood, and we close off all of the thoughts, go into a place where there's no stimulus that comes through to the five senses, a quiet, nice, relaxing place, and maybe even close your eyes, but at least close them off mentally, and receive only what comes from these other senses that which we have. Learn to receive from your intuition, that's a sense, and learn to receive from your sixth sense, and learn to receive from your inspirational sense. That's another. We have an inspirational sense that brings inspirational thoughts. We have a sense. There's that sense that brings musical ability, and there's that sense that is artistic, and there's that creative sense that we can turn to. All of these senses that we can turn to, which can bring marvelous ideas. And so that's how we need to rectify our inability to see the harmony in our life. We'll see the harmony in our life as we begin to turn to these other senses. But health is an eternal and immortal substance which cannot be divided out. We cannot divide away health and make way for sickness and illness and disease, because we can only turn our five senses toward those things and away from health. But as we turn our real senses back toward health, health was there all the time. You see, you have perfect health within you now all the time, but you have to turn your other senses, which transcends the five senses, you have to turn those senses back toward that health and harmony, which existed when you came into this world and began to be fed all of these ideals of sickness and illness and disease. Go back to where you existed in harmony and where you existed in peace and joy and love. Go back to the time when everything was perfect, and when the time when you recognized that everything was perfect, and begin ask divine source, reveal to me these other senses, the senses that are beyond the five senses, so that I can recognize all these immortal things. And energy is also an immortal, eternal substance which does not change and does not decrease. You do not actually decrease in energy. You have immortal, substantive, eternal energy, all that you could ever use. It is there with you now. You have to turn back to it and realize that you exist. In Him we live and move and have our being. You exist in infinite energy. You exist in overwhelming, buoyant energy. You exist in overwhelming, buoyant peace, joy, and love. And abundance is yours. And you can gain all of the abundance that you need as you turn to that harmony and that energy which already exists within you, and will begin to flow every creative idea you need, every innovative idea you need, every inventive idea you need, every artistic, engineering, and constructive idea that you need, all healing, constructive, and energetic ideals are there and are eternal and immortal. That's a secret that not too many people know, that all constructive and healing and productive and creative energy now exist within us and came with the package when we came to this earth. And we're here, though, to follow the leading of divine source in developing all that and going back to it and realizing what we have already existing within us. So that I want to see you with all of these things working in your life, and I'm going to continue to teach you every step of the way exactly how you gain infinite creativity and overwhelming energy and ability to produce everything you need, and the ability to have the energy that makes it easy and makes it enjoyable, and you will enjoy using your creative power and your energy and building whatever empire you want to build, whatever great thing you want to build, whatever vision you're marching toward, and do what you want to do to help the world. You'll be able to do all of that in an overwhelming, victorious way, which will not tire you out. And the more you do it, the more energy will come. The more you spread the love, joy, and peace, the more will come back your way. And the more that you develop this healing recognition, the greater health you'll have. Turn to that healing recognition, and the more you recognize the health that is already with you, that it is the natural state, the more health you will have, and the more ability you will have to heal other people. A marvelous thing which will bring you great joy in your life. You can't imagine the joy that you will receive when you see that you can speak the words that cause other people to get up out of their wheelchairs and walk, and cause their eyes to open, their ears to open, and cause all of that healing power to flow through them, and for them to recognize it as their natural state and become energetic and buoyant and overcoming and victorious. Get up, out of the wheelchair and open the blind eye and march forward. And you can run. You can run 2 or 3 or 4 miles a day. You can walk 10 miles. You never will get tired. You can walk up and down in that company where you work and be more creative than anybody there. You can construct and engineer more buildings and hire more people. And so let's all get ready to do all this, and I will talk to you a little later on. Have a good